What is going on, EoP sports fans? It's Wednesday night. It's 8:30. It's time for EoP. I'm Big Al.
And I'm Fred. No, I'm Joey Sheeran.
He is not Fred. He is Joe, but Fred will be here shortly. The whole crew is back in town, and the Phillies are, Joe, for the first time in a long time, actually, like just handling business. That's the one thing I'm going to take away from this game so far, and I don't want to say it too early because there's still a couple innings. Things can happen, but they're handling business pitching. They're handling business at the plate. And
defense,
yeah. That play, Bowman, he went like 40 feet outside the third baseline and threw the guy out at home. That was amazing. But yeah, it was like I'm saying. I'm coming back. When was the last time a team like won by like a solid 5 points that wasn't done on like the last inning or something? Like they just kind of cruised through the game, tacking on runs like throughout a couple innings here and there. I mean, they put up 3 runs in the first.
Usually they're down by 3 runs. In the first
they've been doing that a lot. Like they've always been down 2 or 3 runs, and they get it back within a couple innings usually. But yeah, this is the first game in a while I can feel that this team has actually started off well and continue and kind of cruise through it a little bit. A lot of cool things happening tonight. We'll kind of touch on all that, and of course there will be a Fightins final after the show tonight. I don't know if it's Pat or Matt on it tonight, but I'll let you guys know in a moment. But we got a lot to cover tonight. I want to remind you guys, this is brought to you by our awesome sponsors at Sherry'sTickets.com, CherryInjuryLaw.com, PhillySportsTrips.com, and DolansBar.com. We got a lot of things to cover, and let's just talk about our Fighting Phils because they're on right now. Split the doubleheader last night. They should have won.
They should have won. Absolutely.
They should have won. I mean, it's just one of those, I don't know, getaway games. People are really upset with today's. Let's start off with this. A lot of people are upset with the lineup today before we got into anything.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I heard a lot, especially on social media, was, who's Wilson? Well, everybody knows
Wilson.
Yeah. Everybody knows who Weston Wilson is now. So,
absolutely. Man.
I mean,
what a story.
Talk about a major league debut. So Weston Wilson is playing left field tonight. So a little bit like, here's your difference. Trey Turner leading off. I mean, had a couple good games, and they moved them up the line pretty quickly.
They really did.
I was sitting there, and like one of the show topics I had before the game started tonight, a little too soon. I guess not so much.
Let off with a single. I mean, what more can you ask for?
That's what you want your leadoff guy to do, to get on base. I mean, he's been on base a couple times. Alec Boehm hitting a couple double plays. That's probably one of the few down parts about tonight. One of the key things right now.
He's got 70 RBIs at the moment.
I know. He's like, isn't he either tied or almost in the lead?
He's up there.
Yeah. Let's see. Dives. Weston Wilson, Hive standoff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Are we calling him Weston or are we calling him Wes?
I've
been calling him Weston, and I hear Tom McCarthy and everybody, they're calling him Wes. I look on Twitter or X, whatever the heck you want to call it. They're labeling him Wes on there. The Phillies are. I don't know what the heck we're calling him, but either way, I'm good with him.
Yeah, like, can we talk about that real quick? Because I know we're going to let Freddie get a moment to sit in here. But is it X, but it's still called Twitter? Or
I don't know.
Is the logo an X, but it's called Twitter?
Everything I've seen, the app on your phone is X.
Well, I'm just saying the logo.
At the top of the app, it just says X.
It just says, okay, yeah. But if you go to the website,
it could be different for phones.
If you go to the website, it's still twitter.com / whatever.
I guess.
It's not x.com. I don't know, whatever. It's just like.
Well, if you go to twitter.com, it goes to X.
Does it now? Now you're making me intrigued by doing this. It still says twitter.com/home. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It just has the X. Everything else is still there. But who cares?
What are we doing?
I just thought it was weird. But, oh my God, it's killing me. Look at the top of the score.
This is ridiculous.
Like all right.
I guess all superstitions are non-existent at this point, right?
Especially in baseball,
right?
A very superstitious sport. Guys who wear socks and don't clean them for like entire seasons.
Yeah.
So
Fred's gonna have a fit when he sees this.
Fred's gonna blow his top. Go ahead, Fred. Sit down and turn your mic on when you sit down.
Can you see at the top of the Phillies what it said? Actually, if you see it better if you turn around.
I want his reaction.
Yeah, they do it every game. They did it the last game.
Did they really?
They did it the last game, and the announcer says it. Tom McCarthy says it. It's ridiculous that they don't honor. They don't honor the tradition of not saying anything.
Yeah,
like that's something in baseball that like you just love and you just want to like. cherish and teach your kids. Oh, don't say nothing. Exactly. Don't say nothing. And then they just want to. We're done with that, so we're just going to put it on TV every freaking time.
Well,
it really does piss me off.
Well, it's not just TV. It's not just radio. The app comes out and says it. Oh, through 7 innings.
App,
MLB app. Oh, through 7 innings.
I'll deal with that. That's okay. That's alerting you of a game. Like ESPN's has always said no hitter going on the 7th, but the actual team that has the and the team losing will say, no hitter going to ruin it.
Right, of course.
But the team station and the announcers watching the damn game, it's mush.
What is Freddie Burns' allowance when talking? If you're announcing the radio, you're announcing the TV. What can you say to work around using the term hitter? What could you say?
Read the damn thing. Like after every inning, when the inning over ends, you just read the thing 0-0-0. You're like, oh wow, it's exciting.
To be honest with you, just go on social media because somebody on there is talking about it.
Oh yeah,
at this point in life, yeah, you're right. But
it's different. I'm in the car. I'm on the way, and Scott is talking about it.
Scott did it.
Scott and LA. LA did it first. And then Scott started talking about it. I'm sitting there like really? Like, this is just something that we're going to sweep under the rug anymore. Like, I remember back in the day, exactly what you're talking about. Knowing what is going on, the secretive of it, the knowing not to talk about it. Sitting there, my wife going, like, no, don't you say a word because I will blame you. And you will be sleeping on the couch tonight.
That's another big part. Blaming the person.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. Your buddy does it. You're like, dude, you're a piece. You just rip him.
Joe did it
or you got to chug
100% I've done it to you.
Okay, in the Washington game
100% I've done it to you.
Or kill your beer or whatever. Like if you're drinking it with your buddies or whatever.
I treated him to a game. We were in the
Diamond
Club.
We were in the Diamond Club.
And I kind of set it out like I'm thinking it and I say it and I'm Joe.
He couldn't just say you went to a game. He had to let everyone know he treated you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Kyle Gibson was going.
He still broke my balls.
Oh yeah, I did. Kyle Gibson was going. It was in like the 8th inning. Al's talking. I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then I think it was Hollywood who was with us.
Yeah.
He goes, dude, you must have been in the bathroom or something." Al's talking about this like 2 innings ago as well. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Well, Jordan Thompson says, I think we're witnessing history. If possible, I mean, because when he was going from the 7th into the 8th, he was only hit 100 pitches even. He only won 11 pitches. So he's only at 111. So it is viable he could close this game out.
Shout out to my boys in my group text message because we've been going back and forth. I haven't really heard or watched anything in the game, but I've just been getting updates. Not one of them have even mentioned that there was something going on.
Good.
Shout out to Freddie's text messages.
You know what? That's a good call. That's a good call. No, my buddy said anything either.
I wouldn't have known if we didn't come into this combo.
Granted, I wasn't getting updates from him. We haven't been texting, so I mean, that could be why I'm not hearing.
Yeah, even a few weeks ago, when it was it was Nola. My brother texted me, "Hey, put the Phillies on. Something weird's happening in the 5th," and I'm like thinking honestly, it's like the Moors has a lot of cancer nights and stuff, and I'm thinking like, or something special's happening. I'm thinking like, did they get my son up here or something? Like, and then I get it, and I'm like, oh.
See,
but he didn't say it. Is the point?
It is the point. Well, let's talk about this because right now the Phillies are going to be back. But a couple of things, like I said, people are a little upset with the lineup. Schwarber's hitting a lot of home runs. They let him rest tonight. They bring Bryson Stott out of the lineup. A lot of people, and actually, Topper was in an interview this morning, and he straight out told people that about, I guess it was right before 9 a.m., which was a little surprising that he did that early.
The lineup was out early today.
Yeah.
I thought it was
well. He let the cat out of the bag and pretty much gave it out.
Yeah.
The whole you knew how the rest was going to go, and like we were just saying right before Fred sat down. One of the things is like people were like, "Oh, well, Trey Turner's in the leadoff spot. He's DHing tonight." By the way, first time it's not Schwarber or Bryce in forever how long that has been in the DH spot. But
Wilson is all over this game.
Yeah, he has been. And that the other bright spot, Weston Wilson, 28-year-old rookie. He spent most of his time in the Brewers organization. Not funny story, but interesting story is so you know how they didn't have the 2020 season in the minors because they shut it down because of the pandemic. 2021, he came back, didn't have a great run because they had a lot of shoulder issues. Found out that the swelling in his shoulder was due to a blood clot. And if they didn't find it, could have killed the guy.
Oh my gosh.
They found it, clean it, and then, of course, they moved on this year, and he was raking down in the minors Lehigh Valley AAA there. And he had 25 home runs in the minors, batting I think about 260. Coming up here, first bat as a Philly, as a major in the major leagues, and he gets a nice towering solo home run to start his career.
Shot.
Yeah,
it was a freaking shot.
Yeah, he's. I think we were talking about this. Derek Hall had his first hit was a home run, but not his first at bat.
You're right. Yes.
So I think you have to go further back to find the first at bat is a home run.
Let me ask you this: here we are, Phillies are up, bottom of the 8th inning. Now, me knowing what's going on, I'm going. Let's get. Hey, Phils, get these 3 outs over with, so we can get back to the Lorenzen side of the ball. Anybody else feeling like that? I'm okay. The Phillies just going down 1, 2, 3, so we can see how this finishes out.
Well, here's the thing: is I think that's a little bit I think there's a little bit into that, Joe. But like for instance, when Nick Castellanos last came up, there's another storyline for Nick. 2 home runs in 1 game. He was going up there trying to make it 3.
Is this the same Nick Castellanos that everyone was about to jump ship on because he struggled for 2 weeks?
100%.
Same guy, right?
100%.
I mean, yeah.
Just checking.
And we might as well talk about, because one of the things I wanted to talk about, because we haven't had to talk about as a group, but it's been talked about a lot, is the whole Trea Turner and this fan base really coming behind to support him. I know I've made it clear on a lot of the post-game shows and the show last week. I thought it was amazing. I think it turned for all the bad things that people we always said that Philly's always a villain that other cities need. But when was the last time you can get 4 people? I don't care if you're a Phillies fan or whatever, to do the same thing and agree upon it, let alone 40,000 people to get behind a guy, plus everybody else who wasn't in the game, to get behind a guy and cheer him. And like I said on one of the post-game shows, and I think Topper said it this morning, it didn't just help him. I think it helped a lot of the lineup.
Yes. That's one of my biggest takeaways from it is, first off, I was there Friday night. I was honored to be a part of this. And it's funny because
when they lost?
It was, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I get it. I'm a mush. I get it. Okay. But going down, I'm me and my wife were talking about it, and it's weird because I knew about it. I'm seeing Jack Fritz talk about it. You're seeing some stuff on Twitter. I saw a video of Jeff Statlin from earlier in the day. Somebody asked him a question after practice. He goes, "Oh, I'm a Phillies guy now, now here in Philadelphia." And then he goes, "Oh, big night tonight, standing ovation tonight." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, is this actually getting the reach that it deserves? Because even saying to my wife going into the game, I go, I don't know what's going to happen. I know about it, but I'm also I have my finger on the pulse of everything that's going on. Because I search these things out. Number one, because of the industry that we're in, but number 2, because I'm a fan and I'm going to be at the game. So it's up until the at bat comes, you don't know how the reception is going to be. You don't know how many of these people
could be a smattering of boos and a smattering.
It could have been
because there were people texting I'd boo the crap out of them. I'd do this. It's
it could have been just patches of people throughout the crowd. No, I'm telling you, it was unison. Everybody stood up and went absolutely nuts. And it wasn't only the biggest ovation was his first at bat, but then his 2 at bats after that, he got an ovation as well, but it wasn't as big as the first. And his 3rd at bat, he got the RBI single. So after that, the place erupted. But you hear about the comments from Trea after the game, and I mean, I feel like people, players cursing and post game pressers has become more of the norm. But and maybe it's just because he feels so comfortable here in Philadelphia now. He was that was effing awesome. And he just flat out said it. And then you come to hear that his mom was in the crowd that night and she was crying about it. And add to what you were saying is my takeaway after it, coming home, thinking about it and how cool it was, just it was not only a message to Trea Turner, it was a message to the whole ball club. Because as soon as somebody else may, that other shoe may drop, we'll be right there to pick them up as well. I jokingly said to my wife, I said, why don't we just each game or each series pick a player to give a standing ovation for, and then they can just rally after that. You know what I mean? But I mean, it is so cool. And then you hear Bryce's comments about the Philly faithful and how in one sentence he completely dismissed his entire time with the Washington Nationals, who we're playing right now, saying that he loves Philly. He wish he would have started his career here, and it's an amazing thing. And to those dopes out there who say, "Oh, I booed them because they were participation trophies and all that," it's much bigger than that. It's just showing support and camaraderie for one of your own.
That's what I'm saying. For a fan base who totally gets lambasted for being jerks and would walk over their own grandmother, they finally we're in national media talking about doing something really good, and everybody's out there just kind of poo-pooing. Oh, it's fake. It's forced. Actually, one guy called out former EoP alum and WIP producer Kyle Quinn.
Sure.
I heard him on the radio the day or two before it happened where he said, "Oh, it's going to be phony. Oh, it's going to be forced. I don't think it's a good idea." Well,
Kyle, I hear Kyle say a lot of things on WIP.
As I said to Kyle when he was here, and I'll say when he's not here, shut up, Kyle. But real quick before we get it, because Lorenzen has come out, like we said, 111. He's up to 113 pitches. I threw a couple pitches. 113 pitches. So we'll see how this plays out. But real quick, I want to get this before we see, before we get to maybe hopefully a historical moment here for the Phillies. This is brought to you by Sherry'sTickets.com. Go to Sherry'sTickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Sports, concerts, theaters, you name it, they got it. No hidden fees. Great prices. Save additional 10% off with the EoP10 promo code. That's right, Sherry'sTickets.com. Check it out now. So we're down to 2 outs now. Lorenzen's up to 114 pitches. Listen, we normally won't go play-by-play here.
But you got it.
We're going to have to interrupt our regularly scheduled programming for
this guy can hit.
Possible history here.
This guy can hit, batting 280.
He's a big dude. Is it just me?
Wes Wilson is a big dude, too.
Yeah. This guy looks like he's like 6'9". Like I know the catchers that how tall is the ump? Is he a short ump? Because it just looks like.
Well, they're all leaning over. They all look short.
Oh,
actually, this ump looks pretty tall as well.
Yeah. That maybe some see him like that.
Grounder.
Oh. But like I
don't know what to do.
The whole thing, like this whole game just has so many storylines to break down. Whoever's doing the final today, either Matt or Pat, is gonna have a hell of a good one tonight. Because like I said, between Wes and Wilson's major league debut, a home run in his first at bat, 2 walks, scored 2 runs. I mean, you can't really ask for much more.
Oh, struck him out.
Yeah. Be honest, this is kind of a gimme call right there.
I'm not gonna.
Listen, I'm not gonna. Listen, I say it both ways. I'll call it both ways, but hey, I'll take it. We're down to the last out.
That was good.
100 and was it 100?
If the box wasn't there, it would look a lot better.
100,
which is what it did look better there. Right. No box, yeah.
117 pitches right now, so down to their last out. This. Guys could be real interesting. I might lose my mind.
I think once he gets to 120, we should probably pull him, because that's a lot of pitches,
Well, what they were saying is
Mrs.
they're letting him go. They should let him go further, and obviously they did because he had an extra day off from his last start, and he's going to have another. Oh, come on. He's going to have another extra day off after this start. So
come on.
Let him go 140. I don't even care. I guess that won't happen.
Yeah. I mean, guys back in the day did do 200.
Oh, my God. It's such bullcrap. I hate it. I freaking hate it.
Oh, one away. This one, I'm going to tell you guys, that TV's a little ahead right now. So you may want to turn your attention to that one because this one
is
you're
right.
A few moments behind. I just don't want to ruin because I might jump up and you guys are like, oh.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al. Trying to be a friend here, guys. Trying to be a friend.
Although, if we look away from this TV, we might screw up the juju.
I know. That would be crazy, actually.
Oh! I'm sorry. You're going to get a lot of sound effects out of me right now.
Joe makes the same noises during a Phillies game as he does on the bathroom.
I was going to say, amazing. Lex is watching right now. Like, I've heard that sound before.
Amazing they were able to acquire this guy, too.
I know.
Is he fairly young?
28?
30.
30.
All right, so pretty old.
Nah, I feel like in pictures, I mean, it's not old.
Old, yeah.
Funny enough, Al, is his first start for the Phillies, he actually he met up with a former teammate of his, Mike Costanza Jr.
Yeah.
Down at the ballpark. Yeah, guy we grew up with.
And a fan of the show, too, is him and his father. We see his name popping up a lot.
Dude, I love the hair. I love it.
Me too.
Well, somebody posted a picture where they got him that they were saying somebody doesn't know, but they just reacquired Matt Strahm because like they have like the same like pitch.
They had a bunch of hairheads.
I like 22 too. I didn't get to see him pitch. I was on vacation on the Bay in Maryland, so I didn't get to see. This is my first time watching him pitch.
It's cool.
Alec Boehm's got long hair. Marsh, Strahm. That's a
come on, baby.
Got it. Go on, Roja. Live on the air, guys. Yeah. There's a no-hitter in Philadelphia, guys. That is amazing. Newly acquired.
Oh, look at the tears.
I mean, come on. The mom, the wife, looks like his kid, I guess, is there. Like I said, I mean, we all go back to the moment when Roy Halladay did it when they were in Miami. This is awesome.
No-hitter or a perfect game?
That was a perfect game. That was a perfect game.
It was a perfect game. No, this.
No, this is a no-hitter because he did walk, I believe. I'll tell you
okay.
Four walks.
He walked 4.
Yeah, walked 4. So, yeah, I mean, what an amazing moment. Your second start here. And let's talk about his first start. I wrote it down just to talk about it because I wasn't sure how far he was going to go. He went 8 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, and a walk. His first debut here. That's 2. There's 2 guys tonight with 2 big debuts. One here at Citizens Bank Park, one for Major League Baseball. This is just a night of firsts, guys. This is freaking awesome.
Phenomenal.
And again, I'm not sitting here and sprinkling fairy dust on everything, but don't tell me this isn't something to do with the think about it. They were playing when the whole thing with Trea Turner, they were playing the bottom feeding team. The team was sub 40 wins with 100 plus games under their belt. And this team, this looked like a playoff stadium at that point. A playoff stadium. Like they were all standing up, they were all cheering. We remember.
I mean, the bank's back.
Yeah, and I mean, how it's like I said,
and I'm one of the ones that was like, dude, I don't know. I think they lost these kids. But my brother that I was referencing in his group who didn't even pay attention to them, they go to the games all the time. Even this kid, he's an intern at our agency. He's like, I'm going to the Phillies game. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that used to be the thing when I was little. It's back.
Hey, Walt's checking in. Always a faithful to the Fightins final. Yeah, man, what an amazing moment. For those who are just chiming, because I see a couple numbers popping up here, the Phillies did win tonight, which is important. Don't get me wrong, but the biggest thing is newly acquired pitcher Lorenzen has thrown a no-hitter, only letting up 4 walks today, and went about 120 pitches. Was it? I don't know if exactly. I'll pull it up here.
Yeah, about that. And you know what? One of my biggest thing, and I was going to say this about Lorenzen's, first and second start, regardless of this no-hitter, is when we acquired him at the trade deadline, and I'm sure we're going to get much more into this as well. I looked at his name was on the radar. It absolutely was. When we got him for our 5th prospect and whatever we gave him, no-hitter in the second start. Regardless of what we get up, we won the trade. Dombrowski fleeced Detroit again. But what I've always looked at is I'm looking at the performance of the guy and how he actually pitches, not what his stats are telling me. Because you can look at his stats and say, oh, he's a subpar pitcher and, he's not going to do much. He's not going to add much to our rotation. But you have to think of where he came from and the lineup that he was pitching in front of. It was the Detroit Tigers who had much to nothing going for him, and that does affect the analytics, the stats of a pitcher. A pitcher can go out there, like we've seen Aaron Nola in really good starts. Back in the day, Cole Hamels, who got no run support. These guys are really good pitchers, but they do not have good stats because of the team and the roster behind them. Now look at what Michael Lorenzen has done as a Philly in only his 2 starts. He went 8 strong in his first start, a no-hitter, complete game tonight. I mean, Dombrowski, congratulations, my man.
I hope he never gets that team in Nashville off the ground. He needs to stay here.
He was such a good acquisition because they were trying to get that team together down in Nashville. It wasn't working out, and it was just we got him. Boston got rid of him. Why? Because he traded. Why did Boston get rid of him? A couple bad years. This guy puts together good teams. It's almost like how we grabbed Pat Gillick. It's like, bam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except this guy, I feel like he's a little younger, and I think he's going to be around a lot longer because once you get here and you have success, you fall in love with this city,
Oh, yeah. And that's why I'm kind of chiming in on him too. Like I said, this is his second start as a Philly. Talk about a galvanizing moment. If you're like Bryce Harper or JT Realmuto or whoever, you at this point feel like he's your best friend for years now. You galvanize a team like this with a couple new guys. You got, like I said, you got Wilson for his first time. You got Rojas, who's been up here for a short time, who's been pretty good for a young guy out there doing some stellar defense. And like I said, a lot of people are upset. What's this rookie BS lineup tonight? And Rob Thompson gets to laugh all the way to the bank tonight, or from the bank in this case.
What's funny is The two Phillies posts that I put up today. Number one was the one this morning about fair weather fans, and now what I talked about, either you're on cloud 9 or the sky is falling. Guess which one they are now?
Yeah.
And the second post was about Aaron Nola, and I said about what ESPN predicted him to get. Is it fair? Is it worth it? Blah blah. And I said in the post, I said, or do the Phillies already have his replacement in their system in Michael Lorenzen? And here we are hours later, and he throws a no-hitter.
124 pitches, only 4 walks. Just an amazing moment. And like I said, like let's not take away from everything. Again, Trea Turner's continuing. He was in the 9 hole. He was in the 4 hole yesterday. And then he was in the leadoff spot while Kyle Schwarber's getting the night off. He went 2 for 4 tonight. Boom won 1 for 4. Harper was 1 for 4. Castellanos was 2 for 4 with 2 home runs tonight. There's another thing too. What do you think? Like, you're Nick Castellanos and somebody like, hey, I'm Nick from the future. You're gonna have 2 home runs tonight. You're gonna be like, I'm gonna be the player of the game, right?
Nick from the future.
Yeah, I'm the player of the game. I mean, the only people really didn't do well tonight was JT was 0 for 4. Castro, whatever, we're gonna get from him, 0 for 4.
When was the last time the Phillies? And I'm gonna say this carefully, that the Phillies had 2 days back to back where a player has had a multi home run game. Obviously, it's not back to back games because they had the doubleheader last night, but back to back days where they've had a player or 2 players with multi home runs.
Last time?
Yeah, when was the last time?
I would guess.
I don't know the answer.
I would guess 2009 is when I would guess. I feel like Raul Ibanez and someone did it one night, and then because he was hot that first half of the season. Actually, that first half of 2009, it was like, holy shit, Raul Ibanez is back. But then
it's kind of rhetorical just to say how hot they are right now.
Yeah, I wonder.
Stop making me look bad.
I mean, and another thing you have to say about
that's probably wrong. I'm probably wrong. It's just, but I thought it was a guess.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
But another thing you have to say about Dombrowski is he came into a team where the GM situation and Clentak, whatever he was called at the time, that was all, a cluster F. And we put all this pressure on the shoulders of Dombrowski because of his past history with the Tigers and with the Red Sox, and knowing that he can come in and transform not only the bigs, the majors lineup, but also reconstruct a farm system.
Yep.
And it's amazing what he's already done with our farm system 2-3 years in, whatever it is. Just look at the young talent that he's had up here already this year. I mean, number 1 tonight, Wes Wilson, Pache, who we got from Oakland right before the season started. Rojas has come up. I mean, that's another thing. Hoffman, like the Phillies have been notorious for waiting way too long to bring up their young guns. And that's not what the case has been the past 2 seasons. Now, it could be a Rob Thompson thing. It could be Dombrowski being in the ear of Rob Thompson, whatever it may be. They're finally on the right track and getting these guys up here when they're young and seeing what they can do and how they contribute with the veterans that are on the team. When you look at this lineup and the production we've had really since they've gotten hot, beginning of June, it not only has been the veterans who show up in their timely manner. I mean, they've all been struggling, but it's been the youth that has really carried this team, day in and day out, and really picked up these veterans and this lineup. It's amazing what we've seen in the past 3 months now.
It's also amazing what a little patience will do and a little consistency with the lineup. I mean, we crushed Rob Thompson, but he's changed it up a bit, but he's pretty consistent, and he always reflects, hey, our record is this, which is always a good record with this lineup. And I really think that matters because a lot of times we just jump ship or get upset or it doesn't work for 2 weeks and they're like, we're done, where he's just very steadfast. Like, no, this is the way I'm going to do it. It worked before. I trust my players. They're resilient. He always says they're resilient.
Yeah. And listen, we'll find out if it pays off because like I said, a lot of people were upset that, Kyle's hitting a lot, hitting well. You're going to let him sit tonight. And then you have Stott hitting like he's been all year long, and you sit them both and you're like, oh, well, this is really dumb. He's got a bunch of guys in here, guy with his first time in the league. I mean, I kind of feel a little bad for Wes Wilson right now. They got me calling Wes, by the way.
Yeah.
Because like, Major League debut, I hit a home run. I walked twice, and this guy is
going base, 2 runs, 2 runs scored. Yeah, absolutely.
What a great moment. And just seeing him with his family. And
see, that's so cool because JT plays such a huge part in the success of Lorenzen.
So no doubt about it. He said after the first game, he was so stunned that he didn't have to shake him off once. He just went with what Real Muto said.
Yep.
So Real Muto probably called this entire game based on the trust they've built on one Sunday.
Yeah. Can you just look at the history of the Phillies at the catcher position and just how lucky we have been for the teams that really have, got into that peak. I mean, Dutch with 93 and I'm trying to think of the nickname that they had back then. But, just that team, that's such a memorable team. And then Carlos Ruiz for all those years, winning the World Series and catching for literally the best pitchers in the game at that time.
Sure.
Cliff Lee, Halladay, yeah, exactly. Just name them. Even Joe Blanton. I'll throw Joe Blanton in there too. Carlos Ruiz. And then right from Carlos Ruiz, I mean, you have, Jorge Alfaro. We'll forget. Those are the forgotten years. Those are the forgotten years. And the one thing I can thank that man for is bringing us JT Real Muto. All right. Look at the history.
Oh, heads up there. And my brother, just so we can go back to the no-hitter, at 8:40 texted me. I didn't realize it till now. I'm just watching the Phillies. You should watch too. ... And then a couple minutes later, 13 minutes later, no hitter. I screenshotted the picture of our screen, Michael Lorenzen.
Nice.
No hitter. But yeah, honoring the tradition.
Look, Rojas is going nuts. Everybody's going nuts.
It's like they won the World Series almost.
Well, listen, for the youth, but for the youth, this is amazing. Like, these are things you don't even know you're going to be a part of. He made the last catch for him. I mean, like,
imagine going to your first game tonight.
Yeah, and
my buddy, I'm texting with buddies, and I said, no, and he was like, I'm here with my son for his first game. He's not going to remember it. He's that young, but it's cool that his son was at.
Yeah, he'll have it. He'll know that forever.
Yeah, he'll have the certificate that says like.
I always write the date and on the that too. Perfect.
Walt wants to know, was Macho Libre 93? Was that what you're talking about, Joe?
Something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I said,
Macho Row, maybe something like that.
Macho Row, definitely.
Yeah,
but and you talk about
how I was thinking Murderers Row, and I thought I could be wrong.
And you guys, could you imagine this is your first game, or you took your kid there for like one of the first or second time, and like they get to see something this amazing?
Oh my God, I'm sorry to cut you off. They're putting it up there on the screen. The last one was Cole Hamels.
Yeah.
His final game is a Philly, which is pretty cool. I remember watching that.
And he just officially retired.
Yeah. Should they retire his number?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Retire him, put him on the Wall of Fame. 100%.
Yeah.
Number probably.
Mike, any player that has success, I'm going to be like, if Mike Lieberthal's on there, then you get in. That's my reference.
Scott Rowland, who does not give a damn about this organization, is still yet to be introduced, and he's not even showing up, and he could care less about this, and yet the Phillies think this is just a great idea. And that's what irks me.
He did give him a shout out in the Hall of Fame speech to Philadelphia. Everything he definitely had to. But it's just
he should have went in, and
I was there. I booed the living hell out of him. Yeah. I was there for that.
He should have done what the crime dog McGriff did, and just go in with no team represented on your plaque, because McGriff played for a total of 4 teams as well. Scott Rowland did as well. His longest tenure was with the Phillies. I mean. I'm done. I'm not talking about Scott Rowland.
Well, it's
sorry to what's it?
The dude's a J.O. That's all I'm saying.
Fire him up.
Stir the pot.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not hard with this pot over here.
Not really.
No.
I walked in flipping out about the no-hitter.
Yeah, guys, but also remember, if you get hurt at work, get hurt in a car accident, personal injury, criminal law, those things can be life-altering moments, and not in a good way like we saw tonight. So you need a good lawyer who's going to fight for your rights. David Archeri is your man, 610-565-0300, cherryinjurylaw.com. That number again is 610-565-0300. Let Dave fight for your rights. And it's funny because like we can go through this whole game, break it down, but we're gonna let that what
I don't understand the mindset of Phillies fans. I posted about the no-hitter, and somebody's comment was, also, no Schwarber in the lineup tonight. Give him a 2-week rest. Did you not see game 1 yesterday? Like, I don't care if the man is batting 50. If he's coming out and he's hitting multiple home runs a game, I mean, and
Purdue has 30. Purdue has 30
I don't get it.
It's like Reese Hoskins on steroids, to be honest with you, because Reese Hoskins will have that hot month and then do exactly what Schwarber does, and all this Reese Hoskins love, I don't get. If you hate Schwarber, it's on him on steroids. Like he's already at 30 homers, and what do we got? A month and a half left. 2 months left, really. It's August 9th.
Yeah,
about 2 months. What if he hit 60?
But here's my thing:
50. 50's possible.
He hit 46 last year and led the NL.
So
true.
So Brandon Marsh is out with an injury, right? So should he not play either for 2 weeks?
Yeah, no one. And Lorenzen should just pitch every single day.
Like, guys, it was a perfect storm. There's no saying Kyle Schwarber wasn't the reason a hit was let up.
Right.
Unless there was an error that they gave him a hit in the outfield. That'd be the only way that a outfielder could have caused this to be a bad thing. You know what I mean? Joe, I agree with you. And it's not just Philly fans. It's a lot of fans. Like, there's just nobody can find happiness in anything. I know. Just be happy it happened.
Fickle. Is that the word?
Always gotta.
Fickle isn't it? Douchey is the word, I think, in this case. But like, and it kind of goes back to the Trea Turner situation where people were like, "I'm not doing it. He's a bum." I'm like, I've learned this. People would rather be right with their hot take versus then win a goddamn championship.
Right.
Like, it drives me insane.
It's like the Wentz Hurts thing. Like, people still want to hate. Like, there are still people like questioning Hurts, and it's ridiculous. They got to hold on there, right? Like, it's like, no, dude, you were wrong. He improved. He got better. He's amazing. Like, just let it go. Like, just be a fan. Enjoy the game. He just went to the Super Bowl and was borderline won the MVP in a loss.
Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs, who played against him in the Super Bowl, came out recently, I think it was a day or two ago, and said it was the greatest Super Bowl performance he's ever seen from a quarterback. And that's a man who's playing and winning championships with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't get any more praise than that.
Jalen Hurts, what was he named 3 of the top 100?
And you said earlier top 300, right?
100. I thought it was 300. 100.
Yeah. Yeah, he was named third overall. The only quarterback, of course, in front of him, Patrick Mahomes. Sure. And I don't understand why that's a shock to anybody. Shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
I mean, like,
and who number 2 is Justin Jefferson, right?
Yeah. So it's Mahomes, Jefferson,
right,
and Jalen.
But why does Jefferson get number 2? I mean, is wide receiver one of the most important, hardest positions to play in the NFL? Like, I don't understand how a position player like that can be thrown up before, arguably, the MVP of last year's Super Bowl, who was minutes away from a game-winning Super Bowl drive. How does Justin Jefferson deserve to be ahead of Jalen Hurts?
Players voted.
Yeah.
I guess the players voted him ahead.
Maybe they figured, he got a quarterback like Kirk Cousins throwing him, and he's still doing awesome.
That's fair.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's fair.
It might be my Kirk Cousins hate coming out right there.
I don't like Kirk Cousins at all.
I don't like Kirk Cousins.
I watched that documentary. I finally finished it. Quarterbacks, and as a person, he's actually a pretty stand-up guy. Like, he's very likable.
Cousins?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins as a person, as a guy, as a human being.
Not to me.
Very likable.
I don't think he comes off that way.
No. See, even Donovan said exactly. He's a D-hole. Even though he put that up about a minute or two ago. But I'm going to go with that.
Trivia for you.
Okay.
Who was the last Philadelphia Eagle to be number 3 in the top 100?
Donovan McNabb.
Close.
Terrell Owen. I can't.
Close on position.
Oh, okay. Randall?
Michael Vick?
Come on, man. My boy. Carson Wentz.
Really? Number 3?
Yeah. I thought he made number 3.
Among his peers.
I mean, that had to have been after the Super Bowl season.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
How about
I mean, remember, he was almost the MVP. If he would have stayed healthy, he would have won the MVP.
I'm glad you brought him up because I know you got to roll soon. So I want to jump into some things. His social media post the other day of him wearing an Eagles helmet,
pouring it out.
Yeah. Eagles helmet. Like, first off, is it like a pity party? Like, what exactly is the point of this? Like, Eagles helmet, the Redskin, the Commodores, the Commanders jersey, and the Colts shorts. It's like, What exactly are you trying to get at here?
I think he's trying to put out that he's poor and all he has left are these smattering of no.
First off, he still made $100 million off the Eagles.
$130 million total so far in his career.
Yeah, and minus the injury, maybe he has a different career. But like,
true.
I just think he, even at his best, like his press conferences and just different things he would do, he was kind of like, goofy, I guess is the word I want to say. Dorky, goofy,
awkward,
and awkward. I don't want to say dork in like a negative, like taking a shot at him. So like him to do that, he probably was like, oh, this will be funny.
Right.
But like most people don't think it's funny. They're like, what are you doing?
Actually,
like you ever have
I think it's like an attention grab to me.
Yeah. Like, what do you like? Dude, hey, no one remembers you right now, man. Like you stunk. Like, and your ego was too big to be a backup before or accept guidance from coaches that now you're looking for a job and everyone's like, yeah, we're good.
Maybe I fell for it, but I actually kind of thought it was fun. Like, I'm like,
I didn't have like much hate towards it. My whole thing was just like, oh, that's an attention grab. Like, what's the point?
I just thought, what a loser.
I think here's my thing: is I look at him like maybe this is him finally saying, okay, I was a moron. Let me make light of my situation. I don't really know
what he did so wrong, though, other than play horribly.
It was,
behind the scenes, apparently, he was just like, would not take coaching.
I know.
Stuff. Like
5'3" Mighty Mouse, Darren Sproles tried to get on a step ladder to get in his face. But other than that,
I mean, just he constantly, his play even showed, I don't do anything wrong. It's everybody else's fault.
Toward the end of that season, when Jalen Hurts got those last 4 starts, there was absolutely a butthurt, woe is me, Carson Wentz on the sidelines. I absolutely agree with that.
I'll still agree with the fact that he should have been pissed off because usually when the guy you just signed to a franchise quarterback contract and you sit a guy for a game, it's usually for a game you give him another chance. He never had another chance.
Yeah.
They pretty much telegraphed to him.
Well, they did want to bring him back, and he said that's another reason. Sirianni had a conversation with him to bring him back, and he didn't want to come back because that's his arrogance. He was like he was butthurt, like you said. But even furthermore, like he would change Doug's plays at the lines because he thought he was smarter than Doug. He thought he was above because they treated him like that from the get.
I think that's kind of why Doug kind of checked out towards the end of that season because Carson was doing his own thing.
I think they definitely.
Why am I even here then?
Doug was probably like they were clashing, and then he probably felt bad for him at that point. I think it was more the year before where he put the team on his back and won the 5 games. Remember when we had no receivers, and then he just stunk. And I don't. Doug doesn't strike me as the guy that would. But yeah, they said they said there was a point in time that they wouldn't even speak really. Mm-hmm. So maybe.
I think it was a 3-tier thing. I think there was 3. There was the quarterback in Carson Wentz. There was the Doug Peterson wanting to be the autonomy guy. Like, I want to do everything my way. I want to have my guys. Sure. I want to do my play calling. I want to have say. And the Howie Roseman and even Jeffrey Lurie kind of section going, we want to do things our way. We're not going to give up that kind of power because it just kind of showed a little bit. There's things that showed like that they try to pull the strings a little bit too much. And I think everybody had to have a coming to Jesus moment. I think it was Carson. I'm done with here. And part of it, I'm not saying it was a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just going to say a lot of it was arrogance on his behalf.
Mm-hmm.
I think Doug said, it's not going to happen here. I need to go somewhere else where they're going to let me be me.
Right.
And I think the other thing is even that's, I think it was one of those things that needed to happen. If all these things didn't happen, we wouldn't be in the position where we're at right now as a team. Because I think even at that moment that Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman had to step back and go, okay, maybe we're at fault here in some ways. Where can we make? Because that's right where it all started to turn around. He made a good trade and got some good equity back for Carson without
a third and a first.
Yeah, I mean,
which I remember, and we can go to the tape. Me and Joe loved the trade, and 100%. You were, and even though I even though I was pro Wentz, you were not really feeling the trade.
I wasn't feeling the trade. I was very upset because, like I kept saying, like I felt he got a bum rap. But as things
he did, I agree with you. But the trade was awesome.
Yeah, and I'll say that I was probably
the Wentz tracker every week. I mean, it all fell into place beautifully.
But like I said, it after everything's come out, I know it was the best thing for Carson Wentz to move on.
If you look
happy it was,
If you look at it, and it was, I think we've all kind of stemmed it down to like Jeffrey and Howie, regardless of how much whatever involved, regardless of how involved they were with the decisions that were being made, whether it was Wentz or Hurts, because if you remember, all 4 of those weeks, whether we really know what was going on or not, it all came down to a game time decision on who was playing. Whether it was strategic, who knows? Whether they knew a day or 2 prior, who the hell knows? But it all came down to like literally hours before the game. It's like, okay, Jalen Hurts is starting this game. Regardless of the involvement, the 2 people who came out of this scot-free and smelling like a bed of roses was Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, because Wentz goes on to see, and we see how he's gone. Doug takes a year off, goes down, gets his franchise quarterback, falls ass backwards into a first overall pick, and Tavon Walker, I want to say his name is. And look what happened. And look what happened with the Eagles. In 2 years after that, they had another Super Bowl appearance because they stuck with Jalen Hurts. They stuck to their guns over Carson Wentz those 2 years prior. And what did Howie do? He just bolstered up the defense. It was their way or no way. And here they are, and they're already considered as a Super Bowl contender going into the season now because they did things the way that they wanted to do them.
Not necessarily.
You're wrong, Fred.
Howie Roseman had him traded for Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson said, "No, I'm not coming to Philadelphia."
Yeah, but but we're not.
But
we weren't going to bring that up.
We didn't know. and
Fred, are you using facts here?
Well, we don't know that they're facts because they are behind the scenes things. So I can't say that. But
he was going to be
malarkey, Fred.
If Russell Wilson wanted to come here, he was coming here, and it was going to be part of the trade. We all know that.
Deshaun Watson was the other guy they were going after. But to Hurts' credit, he really did
Never
turn
heard
it around.
Of either of them.
You know. But
and let's be honest, I'm still going to stick by the stance that they were super lucky with Jalen Hurts. They didn't know what they had. They didn't think he was going to be.
I think they drafted him to be a backup, but they also Jeffrey Lurie remembered wanting to get Russell Wilson, very similar, and missing on him.
And
so
that's why they drafted him in the second round.
We're not going to screw that up.
So basically, what had happened is they didn't get Russell Wilson again, and they stuck with Jalen Hurts, who they got because of a Russell Wilson situation, and it turned out it was the best thing for the organization. I knew I was right all along. Right? Thank you.
Bingo. Yeah, do we need linebackers?
Joe, you need a quote for tomorrow? Fred, don't use facts to get away at Joe's point.
Yeah.
Quote, Al.
Linebacker, you said. I think we sniffed some out this past
Did
weekend.
we sign some linebackers?
We signed some linebackers. Is it a telegraph move of any sort, or is it just because of the
I really don't think so.
Nakobe Dean is
He's got a little ankle. He's banged up ankle.
It's funny. There's a few injuries around. Just a
practice
few,
today in a limited capacity.
They're all ankle injuries. So
I know last year the Sue and the Linval Joseph. I know that those 2 came down because of an injury. But those 2 signings were on the same day last year as well. Much like the Zach Cunningham and Myles Jack this offseason.
But much later.
But right.
Yeah.
That was in season because of an injury. But I look at it as very much, kind of like the same move. Like, it's almost like they wanted to make sure that they had both guys agreeing to the contract before they announced one over the other, because who knows if there's a holdout between the 2 for more money, or say, oh, no, I want a different opportunity with nothing, whatever it may be. Signing those 2, like, we're at my house. We're doing a cookout with my father-in-law. My phone's in the garage. Lex, jumps on her phone. And she goes, "Eagles signed a linebacker." Okay. I'm thinking, a camp name or something like that. And she's like, Myles Jack. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta go get my phone. Run out, grab my phone. Then I look and it says Zach Cunningham and Myles Jack. I was like, what? I was like, I yell from the garage, Super Bowl! I was going nuts because Myles Jack is a name I've wanted them to sign all off season. I know a lot of people have been pounding the table for him.
Asking for him.
And Zach Cunningham, I liked him even before he went to Tennessee. I think he was right. He was with the Texans, and he went to Tennessee. I wanted them to try and get him the past couple seasons. And now, he's a little older in his career, but as a depth move, oh my God, like it's
these guys
the way Howie Roseman does these things is unbelievable to me.
They're not that old. They're older though. To his point, they were young spring chickens when Myles Jack was an animal for the Jaguars, and then he absolutely stunk for the Steelers last year.
I forgot he played for the Steelers last year.
And Steelers, if you're a good linebacker, they're going to keep you. Yeah. And then Zach Cunningham's had injury issues, but I think it's definitely a move to have veterans in here. I think it's more a testament. I don't think it's a Nakobe Dean thing,
right?
Though by all reports by the beat writers, He wasn't doing that great before the injury. But I think this is more a Christian Ellis and Morrow thing where they're like, oh, man, like, we can't rely on these guys.
They got Patrick Morrow in the depth chart labeled ahead of Zach Cunningham.
Now.
Yeah, right now, as of today.
They got Jack running with the ones.
Because of Kobe Dean.
But we'll see what happens. He's going to get the opportunity. But, like, Cunningham, I agree with you. It's a depth thing, but I do think at the same time, the Morrow guy has no guaranteed money. Sure. If he's not who they think he is, then, they have the opportunity to release him. They certainly weren't going to run around with Davion Taylor anymore. They finally moved on from. No, they cut him. Yeah, he is gone. Yeah. So I'm glad they got veteran guys though that have played the game and know that type of thing.
And you have to think. I mean, they rotate so much. Whether it's defensive end, defensive tackle, in a 3 nose tackle, they rotate so much that who's to say Zach Cunningham and Myles Jack can't get a good number of snaps per game because of the rotation, keeping everybody healthy and everyone fresh. I mean, these guys can get significant playing time under our system.
Yeah, and hold on. And I think everybody keeps forgetting it's the not-so-secret sauce from 2017. What was a big reason? Depth, rotation, fresh legs. That was a big reason the 2017 Eagles were able to do what they did. And last year, Brandon Graham, he had his best year yet and played less snaps than any other year he had. There's a reason these legs stay fresh. They can do things. Yeah. That's why people are like, oh, this defense isn't going to be as good as it was last year. I'm not on that train yet.
What up, Danny?
I'm not on that train yet. I'm not on the train and thinking this defense can't be as good. Listen, Javon Hargrave, big loss. Completely agree with that.
I don't even know that name anymore.
But at the same time, I think they've upgraded in so many other spots. 100%. Even the safety spot. I'm super excited to see how some of these guys come out. But I just don't. And everybody thinks, well, you got Sean Desai. Sean Desai did do defensive coordination. Sean Desai worked under Vic Fangio. Sean Desai is going to be more aggressive and clean and throw some more curveballs at these defenses than what's his face?
Jonathan
Gannon has done.
It's 70 sacks last year in a bubblegum aggressive defense.
And people are saying that there's a good chance that this could be a one and done year for him.
I know.
If he does a good year, because
that's the only downfall of having a real good defensive coordinator.
I know. You need like an old one like Jim Johnson that has no interest in being a head coach.
And that's another thing, because we lost Steichen as well. We lost our offensive coordinator as well. I mean, thank God we have Brian Johnson in the building who can step right up, who, has this long-lasting relationship with Jalen Hurts. Like, everything is becoming another perfect storm.
No doubt. And I think one other thing with the linebackers we got to remember, to your rotation point, is like in this league now, it's not like it was. Like 2 of the downs, you're only going to need 1 linebacker most times. You know what I mean? So they're going to run with 3 safeties sometimes. They're going to be a nickel, cover 1, cover 2, dime. And they're not going to be in these traditional 2-3 linebacker sets.
Yeah, and here's the other thing is, where were the Eagles very flawed on defense last year was in the middle. So obviously this is where you're going to start filling in some holes.
Well, wasn't that more the defensive line? Because when Jordan Davis went out, that's when it got gashed even more.
You also didn't have any speed or anybody really who could cover the middle if they had to fall back in the coverage.
Oh, okay. Then I thought I'm more covering in the middle. I'm more thinking the run game, because I thought if anything those linebackers could get downhill and get the hole. But yeah, coverage was an issue.
Cunningham's 6'3", so he's no short guy. And
he's a run stopper anyhow.
Yeah. And Myles Jack 6'1".
Dude, he get the old Myles Jack.
Yeah.
One and done. And but we'll take the 1 year.
He was in an interview with Zach Berman and said he was about to become a plumber or electrician or do some sort of trade.
Wow.
Because he's like, I already made money. I just want to do something to be productive. Because he's like, I'm at home playing Halo or something, or Call of Duty or whatever it was. And he goes, he was contemplating of becoming an electrician or a plumber. And then the Eagles called him. So there he goes.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And it's like you can't just think that other teams weren't reaching out to these guys, right? Like, do you think that they just sit back and they wait for the perfect moment for something like this? It's like, all right, Howie Roseman is calling you. It's a no-brainer to sign with the Eagles. Like, I mean, like, you want to think, oh, Houston's calling again for Zach Cunningham, and he's like, oh, okay, let me, jump right up at that change. Like, there has to be other teams that are interested in these guys, right?
No doubt about it. And they're probably picking their spots. You know what I mean? They don't want to go to some crap team. Mm-hmm. They want to at least like be in a situation. They probably know they're going to get a 1-year deal that they're not going to make much on, but put themselves in a position to go get a contract later on.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, and like you said, if a guy's think about it, if you're sitting here getting ready to become a plumber after making $50 million in the NFL, yeah, you're going to wait for, you're not going to take any old call. I mean, they're making $2.5 million a piece. And at the same time, like it's no different than that Joseph and Sue pickup. These guys don't just want to go anywhere. And even though the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, I still think the Eagles are the hottest team from a want to be there kind of situation.
People know about that, Grace.
Yeah, right. They know they have some help.
I want to get this question in because I'm sorry that I have to leave, but I want to get your guys' take on it. I'm kind of skipping ahead. Who is the most exciting player you want to watch on Saturday night? Because I'm very excited for this game. Like, I feel like the starters aren't going to play much, and we got a ton of undrafted free agents and young guys. Like, this is unique for us to be coming off a Super Bowl, yet have all this unproven youth.
I'll go with both sides of the ball. Defensive wise, it seems hard to even like pick someone because you don't know exactly who. Like, I don't know how far up the depth chart Sidney Brown is. But if you're asking me who on the defensive side of the ball, I want to go.
You know he's going to play, though.
He's going to play, right? But I don't know how long. So if there's someone on the defensive side of the ball, I'm excited to see. It's Sidney Brown, absolutely.
He's definitely going to play.
When it comes to the offensive side of the ball, I mean, like the backfield, like does Rashad Penny get in there for a little bit? Like I would love to see how hard he can, cut and all that. Like I'm assuming DeAndre Swift wouldn't be up there with.
Him or Penny with their injury histories.
Right.
Yeah.
So who the hell knows what's going to happen there?
Trey Sermon all the
outside,
way. Dude, they won't stop talking about him.
I know. But I keep hearing good things about Quez Watkins. I don't know who's going to be throwing him the ball, but I do want to see the route that he's running. I want to see if it's a cleaner route. I want to see his hands, if he's connecting. And if it's not him who's playing, I want to see what Oz can do. Oline, whatever the hell his name is. He's a New Jersey native. He went to St. Joe's Prep. He's from here. I would love to see what he can do because I think he's going to be in the return game a lot. So I want to see how they can improve that because it was awful last season in the run or the return game.
Cool. My two guys are Josh Jobe. I want to see.
Good name.
They said he's been running with the ones a little bit, which is stunning. And I was listening to Inside the Birds. They said his footwork's better. He's like tremendously better. And then
he's a Bama guy. You knew that was going to come out at some point.
Yeah, right. And then the second guy I really want to see, and I had no idea about him. I just keep hearing about him. I started to look into him. Joseph Ngata, wide receiver out of Clemson. Apparently he's catching everything, though he dropped the 2 balls in the outside practice. But I'm really curious to see. I hope to see if he's good. Maybe he gets that 5th spot over Covey, or maybe they keep 6.
I'm interested to see Nolan Smith. I want to see because Hassan Reddick isn't going to play probably much of all, if any at all, because of his still kind of tweaking with. I know he's playing, but I know he's still kind of nursing his injury. He's a guy that if he has a really good rookie year, you bookend him and Reddick plays like 75-80% of what he did last year. I feel bad for the other team already. So on defense, Nolan Smith is the guy I'm going to really key in on. Typical Al answer. I mean, in the offense. The whole conversation between Steen and Juergens, and Juergens handling.
Steen's been getting reps at left tackle.
Yep.
That could be something.
Well, the O-line's big one, dude. Because you got Josh Andrews in now.
Yeah.
And Stills back.
Stills, yeah.
What's his face play?
Juergens?
No, the guy.
Oh, the guy.
Why am I just completely blanking out on his name?
The backup center now. Josh Andrews, I think is who you're talking about. Or Dennis Kelly.
He's a return guy from 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think they traded him for Dorian Green Beckham, whatever the hell his name is.
How crazy is he's back?
Yeah.
And then Josh Andrews was on that team too with Chip.
Yeah.
And Mariota, who Chip wanted. Is Howie still trying to take a couple jabs?
Absolutely.
I'm saying that. And I would say my secondary guy would actually be Mariota because he's going to take most of this game off.
He's got it, right?
And let's be honest. I'm not saying he's injury prone, but the last couple of Decembers, Jalen's been down, so there might be a game or two he misses
Mariota
out on.
goes down. Do you give Wentz the call?
Dude, I was just sitting here thinking about saying that when we were talking about it. I'm like, dude, I would, but
I think I would too.
Yeah, that would really test his pride. I don't think
Howie does.
You got to sit here and deal with it. But I'd give Nick Foles the call first. But
Nick Foles being town.
Does that burn house? Does that like Carson Wentz sit at home? Marcus Mariota goes down with an injury. They sign Nick Foles in his house. He takes that helmet and slams on the ground. Goes, tired of getting picked over him.
Well, dude, I'll see you guys. I'll be listening on my way home. So I got to leave.
All right,
no problem.
We'll talk
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
I was going to bring something up about the Eagles. I can't even think of what it was now.
Dude, between what happened in that Phillies game right now, what you got? I'm all over it. My brain's kind of like on overload right now. It's a very enjoyable night. Let me just fix this screen right up here. And there we go. Real quick, guys, I remind you, this is brought to you by PhillySportsTrips.com. Sorry, dude, San Diego trip is out. You waited way too long. So guess what? Line it up. All these away games are available for you, starting with the first game of the season against New England in New England at Foxborough. And guess what? It's Tom Brady Day at Foxborough. Oh, my God. I hope Brandon Graham just blows kisses to him from on the other side of the field. Oh, but go check out. They have every away game ready for you. They have the Flyers outdoor game. They have the Phillies trip to London next year already lined up. Check it out. PhillySportsTrips.com. Go for the trip, but go also for the experience. I love Philly Sports Trips. We use it all the time. We don't travel with anybody else but Philly Sports Trips.
Yes, sir.
Woo!
Oh, man.
Woo to the night. Woo to the night, man. Woo to the night.
I gotta see what else is on our list for the night.
Yeah, I swear to God, I just kind of lost my moment. But just kind of sticking with the Birds. Let's talk while you're looking it up, but also talking about the Ravens and everything that's going on. The Ravens have like this 15-game win streak in the preseason. Do you know about this?
I think I hear about it every year.
Yeah.
And then I instantly forget about it.
Like the most unnecessary streak to have.
It's basically all they can hang their hat on right now.
But do you try to win this game a little bit more than you would try to win this game just because of that?
See,
just to shut them up?
I don't, and here's why. Because I don't think Sirianni has any plan whatsoever to show any type of anything that they plan on going into the regular season with. What they're going to bank on to win this game are the big plays. If somebody could break something, that's all it's going to be. Other than that, it's going to be. I honestly think it's going to be a glorified, scrimmage.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more in those joint practices.
Exactly, that's what I meant. A glorified joint practice.
Because you can control like the scenarios. He already said it. If you think about it. He already mentioned that it's going to be vanilla. Like everything's going to be very plain,
right?
Just to see, get guys some reps, get them muscle memory going. When he was talking about Desai, when Desai came in, he goes, one of the key factors, or was it Howie? One of the two of them said it. One of the key factors when they brought in Sean Desai, they said, you're not going to know anything.
Right.
We have the element of surprise. So why would he do that with his offense? He's going to let guys get out there. He's going to let Marcus Mariota kind of gel with the team a little bit under duress. Let the O-line block. But, you're not showing much there. But you're not going to do any trick plays. And if you do see a trick play with a guy, I feel like you're telling me you're going to cut this guy. Because I feel like that's not a guy they're going to – you're not going to show anything special. Yeah. He's going to be gone.
Especially if it's a guy who, normally is only in there for a snap or two. Because if he's in there, number one, it's either draw confusion with that play that they possibly ran in the preseason, or number two, it is that play in the preseason, and you know exactly how it's going to be drawn up.
Yeah. But, Joe, looking on the other side of the ball for a moment, the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of talk around them right before the draft went down. Why am I forgetting his name? The Ravens quarterback. I just completely blanked on this.
Lamar
Jackson, thank you. Signs a big contract. I've never
it was the largest NFL deal for about 3 days, much like Jalen Hurts' was.
Yeah, exactly. First part, I've liked Lamar Jackson, but I was never like gaga for him like people were. Because I felt like each year he kind of started to get figured out a little bit. Do you think
he's a gimmick? He's a gimmick.
Do you think with what they have so far that they're going to maybe even win their division this year?
I could definitely see them winning the division because of the other teams in the division.
If you were playing them in the regular season, are they more of a threat to you than?
You got to think is Deshaun Watson really going to do anything for the Browns? Is Kenny Pickett going to do much for the Steelers?
Once the Browns signed him for that ungodly contract, fully guaranteed. First part, the Browns organization pissed off every owner in the NFL when they did that.
Oh, 100%.
Sorry, you don't do that. That's like one of those unspoken rules. You don't do it.
Right.
And it was with the Browns. They literally Browns it up. Like that's what they did. And I think you just sold your soul for money. You are never gonna. I'm sorry, Cleveland fan. I got family. I'm actually literally dropping my parents off the flat to Cleveland to see my family this Friday at the airport. Sorry, guys. I know a lot of you listen to this show, and guess what? Cleveland is just the death of football.
I mean, if you look at the Ravens roster and just taking Lamar Jackson out of the equation, J.K. Dobbins is a good back. Mark Andrews is a good tight end. They have OBJ now. You don't know how much he has left in the tank. Do they still have Hollywood Brown? I want to say that they did.
No.
Or did he got traded to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have another wide receiver there that I cannot think of. I mean, on paper, their roster's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. Oh, Justin Tucker, they got the best kicker in the game. I mean, they could very easily win that division. Is it anything to be worried about? Not that we would worry about it. That division is wide open. But yeah, the Ravens absolutely could.
32 teams. Where do you slide him in?
Top 10. I think the highest I would go is probably 7 or 8.
Okay, so top 10, but back end top 10. All right. I mean, and speaking of top 10 quarterbacks, I mean, Cincinnati's dealing with a little unknown. Joe Burrow, man.
Oh, he's going to be the next highest paid quarterback pretty soon for a few days.
I don't know. He's injured. They really didn't like.
Oh yeah, that's right. He got carted off.
They're sitting there like, oh, another couple weeks will be good. It's been a couple weeks, and they said, oh, it's gonna be a couple weeks and it'll be good. I wonder. I mean, what a change in fate in the NFL if Joe Burrow is not at the helm for the Bengals for the year for this year.
I mean, have they really come? And they probably haven't because they don't want to put they don't want to put too much severity or too much worry behind it.
Well, they said 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks, and a week ago, 2 weeks.
Okay.
It keeps going 2 weeks. It's like,
I mean, it's Joe Burrow. Do you really have to get him out there for any preseason?
No,
really? I mean,
no. But I'm just saying, if Joe Burrow for whatever reason can't play in this year, that changes the dynamic of the AFC and the NFL generally. I mean, I mean the Eagles not directly.
Then it's it's a 2-team race. It's the Bills and it's the Chiefs. That's all it is. If the Bengals aren't in there, it's a 2-team race in the AFC. There's no other team. Like, okay, you're asking me about the Ravens. Can I see the Ravens being up there and playing and being to the level of the Bills, Bengals, or the Chiefs? No, absolutely not. So you take one of those teams, the Bengals, out of that equation. The AFC, it's a wrap for one of those two teams.
Sure. And one other piece of conversation we had on the list here to talk about, and it kind of goes back to one of the earlier conversations we had during the Phillies. For those who are joining us right now, Phillies newly acquired pitcher Michael Lorenzen threw a no-hitter tonight, through 9 innings. First one since 2015 with Cole Hamels. And, you know, it's according to the 14th in history, by the way.
Yeah.
For this franchise.
It's special, man.
And we talked about Trea Turner and how this team galvanized, or the city kind of just said in one fell swoop, we are going to go out and we are going to support our brother in arms here. We're going to support this guy and show him the love, even though he's struggling right now. Because, and I want to ask you a couple points about this because we're going to jump back and forth.
Yeah.
But one other thing that really happened that kind of flew under the radar is Eagles on Sunday also had open practice.
Yes.
With 50,000 fans.
I question that number so much.
Do you, though?
Yes, I do. Because where the hell are 50,000 people going?
Because you can just walk around. You don't have to be in there.
But there's no standing room.
No, you don't have to go.
But, okay, but why are they allowing that many more over capacity if there's really nowhere to go?
What is the capacity of the link, though?
It's got to be 30 something.
Hold on.
I really don't think
it's definitely closer to 50.
No, it's not. It's less than Citizens Bank Park and Citizens Bank Park.
67,000.
What?
67,594 to be exact.
No way.
That is the capacity according to.
How is it possible that I'm thinking it's half of that?
No. The Citizens Bank Park is around 4. They added some seats, remember?
Right. It's like 45,
47, 48.
Okay.
I think. And I knew these guys were about 10 to 15 more at least. I'll tell you right now. With the Citizens Bank Park capacity is.
Come on. I'm gonna have to look this up for myself.
That was according to Google. That So Citizens Bank Park is on.
Holy crap!
It's just a shade under 43,000. So it's 42,901 to be exact. So yeah, and I knew they were smaller than the Link.
I'll be honest with you. I am blown away by this.
I didn't think. I thought it was over 50, but not that far over. I'm not going to sit there and say.
I feel like Citizens Bank Park holds way more than the Link.
No.
I don't know.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Think about
67,000 people. It says it's the largest stadium in American Atlanta. In the American Atlanta. Okay, they're talking about the Army Navy game.
Yeah.
But either way, it's still the largest stadium, out there. I can't believe it's 67,000 people.
But let's put that disbelief. Let's say say it was 40,000, Joe, make it more believable.
Right? Yeah.
That's still for open practice.
Oh, it's still amazing.
I mean, amazing. Yeah. It's just like, and it just goes to show you, like, I'm hoping.
You did not go, correct?
I did not go, unfortunately. Some family stuff came up, but
damn family.
Yeah, I can't ruin everything. But like between that, the Trea Turner moment, all kind of coming. Can Philly start getting a better rap?
I know.
I mean, like, seriously, like, I feel like they're going to be like, well, you guys threw batteries and you threw snowballs at Santa Claus. I'm like, guys, let it go. I mean, that's worse than the Cowboys living off their Super Bowl history from 25 years ago.
Right. And you know what sucks is, like, and this is within anything, any sport, wrestling, movie fans. There's the heel and there's the hero. And people pay more attention to the heel than the heroes. For whatever reason, it draws more attention. So when it comes to Philadelphia and their sports fans, the heels are the ones that are going to get all the commotion.
Yeah.
Not the people like us who are in the stands giving standing ovations in support of a player who is down at the moment. And that sucks.
It's funny you say that. I used the term in one of the finals, the anti-hero. Like the hero, but not maybe he's a little bit more. He's not all clean and shiny like Superman. More like kind of grittier. We're going to get the job done. Maybe not the nicest way, but it's going to get done.
Dude, we posted about the no-hitter, and somebody's one comment was, yeah, Kyle Schwarber didn't play. They should rest him for another 2 weeks. What? What in your mind? The heel. He's the heel. What is going on in your mind that says, oh, this amazing moment for not only the Phillies and the city, but this individual on this team, something that is an absolute feat, something that doesn't happen all the time, especially nowadays in baseball, because pitchers aren't going as long, especially with the Phillies. We see our pitchers who are cruising 6, 7, 8, and they're getting pulled for whatever reason, especially with not even as many pitches. To see this guy go pitch 123 complete game, no hitter, second start as a Philly, it's an absolute amazing thing for us, the players, the city, everybody. And this one guy wants to say, "Oh yeah, well, Kyle Schwarber should be rested for 2 weeks." I don't get it. I cannot get into the mindset of the heel Philly fan.
Because this guy is one of those people who think that the Phillies are not, the Atlanta Braves right now with, 10 more wins under
I don't even
belt.
pay attention to the Braves anymore.
Well, that's the problem is the grass is always greener type situation with a lot of fans. And that just goes across sports stuff, not just in Philly. And because he's batting under a sub 200, which, listen, yeah, it's annoying. I would have preferred. But it's not the reason the Phillies struggle when they struggle all the time. Yes, when he goes 0 for 4 a lot of times in a row and the lead off, just like Fred said it. He said it's just like Rhys Hoskins. How many people blamed Rhys Hoskins for our struggles last year? How many people was upset because Rhys Hoskins was
his fielding. I'll admit it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but now this team's struggling because there's no Rhys Hoskins.
I know.
It's all
and it's amazing how many people now say, oh, the Phillies really miss Rhys Hoskins. Well, which one is it, guys?
I mean, everybody's got a hot take now. It's just what it is anymore.
I don't even know what a take is anymore.
A take is just your opinion.
Exactly. So why are we calling these takes, dude? It's an opinion. Oh, your hot take is really stupid. Oh, you mean my opinion? Because that's what I call it, not a stupid.
I don't even call it. Yeah, I guess I was wrong. You don't call them. They're not hot takes when they're ridiculous. They're just they're loose.
Yeah, man, your hot take. Yeah, that was like a lukewarm take or a real ice cold take. You sound like an asshole.
It is an opinion based on minimal fact. It's like blaming the groundskeeper for for the Phillies not losing a game because somebody tripped or something. I mean, it gets.
Did you see that guy trip over the line?
Yeah. Well, so that's funny. They were showing the groundskeeper digging up the pitching mound to give to Michael Lorenzen tonight.
I didn't notice that. That's great.
Yeah. And actually, they just announced that they're in a little while they're going to replay the game.
Oh, beautiful.
So if you didn't get to sit down and watch the whole thing, because Joe, will you do that? Like, if you had nothing to do and you went home and like I got a couple hours to kill, I'm just going to sit here.
Truthfully,
yeah.
If I was having some beers, I would.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really go back and watch many old games except for like they'll replay the Super
if it's
Bowl.
like a rain delay and I know the game that they're showing and something cool is going to happen, I'll check it out.
Yeah, or Super Bowl or some big game.
Yeah.
I mean, they were showing on MLB Network. They were showing like no-nos.
Yeah,
and they had like they did like the condensed version though. So it wasn't like 3-hour games. It was like
I'll sit through some
30,
of them. Yeah.
It was like
especially
15,
football games. Yeah,
it's like 15 to 30 minutes. But
Wes Wilson, sayonara.
Yeah. So for those who are just joining us, I want to kind of recap real quick before we get out of here. The Phillies won 7-0, but the biggest storyline of tonight, Michael Lorenzen's second start, went 8 innings last game, went 9 innings this game with a no-hitter. He had a no-hitter, let up only 4 walks, but no-hitter tonight. And the funny thing about him coming in is they thought he was going to be like a 5-inning maximum guy. And in 2 starts, he's already went 17 innings.
Yeah.
So, again, Dombrowski, got to give the guy credit. And another thing, because we were talking about that earlier, like, one thing you heard about Dombrowski, he'll sell away your whole farm system. He just to win. And that hasn't really happened. He's restocked the pond pretty well. And
let's jump into the trade deadline a little bit before we roll.
And that's my thing is like the ones who've been carrying the team really have been with a quote unquote daycare.
Mm-hmm.
Alec Boehm making less than $1 million a year. Bryson Stott making less than $1 million a year. I mean, Bryce Harper's been pretty,
these guys are going to get paid.
Yeah. Well, that's the question. Like,
I know.
I mean,
who's odd man out?
I think Alec Boehm has a couple of years of arbitration left. I don't know what Bryson Stott. I'll have to look. I'll look that up while you. But Joe, talk about the trade though. I know we didn't talk last week, so where were your feelings on it? I mean, obviously, right now you got to be pretty happy with it.
Trade deadline. I mean, I was like everybody else on Twitter, refreshing every 30 seconds. When it came down to what was it, Tuesday before 6:00. I mean, I kind of feel like Dombrowski does this a lot. I feel like a lot of GMs do this a lot. There was a lot of action with the trades, going on with all the other teams. Everyone's complaining, oh, Marlins did this, Mets are selling the farm, but what are the Phillies doing? Braves, they're the Braves are the Braves. And I kind of knew that Dombrowski was going to make a move. I didn't know how many, but I knew he was going to get something done before the deadline. And I knew it was going to be something significant to help the team. It may not be what we all want, but this is, again, like one of those scenarios where you have to just wait, sit back, and just see how it plays out. Number one, because we know what the one thing we do know is what he's giving up in advance for said player coming in. We don't know what said player is going to do for us. So everyone is either on board with it or already talking crap on it instantly. I love the signing. I love it because, number one, it makes our rotation a six guy rotation. It will help in the long run when it comes to the playoffs. It'll help with our with relievers or long guys or whatever type of situation. I feel very confident with our rotation now. I mean, just Taijuan Walker doesn't get talked about enough.
Mm-mm.
I mean, this guy was brought in to be. I mean, I'm just going with the notation that he was already set to be our number 4 guy, regardless. He is the only pitcher. At least he was the only pitcher. I'm not, current day very sure about this. He was the MLB leading 13-game pitcher. I mean, we can see him get up to what, 16, 17 games, by the end of the season. When was the last time the Phillies had a pitcher getting 16, 17, 18 wins? And this is from our number 4. So that is a huge acquisition right there. When it comes to the bat, there is heavy rumors about Tommy Pham, Cody Bellinger, who the Mets kind of took off the trade block pretty quickly. I mean, we saw where they are now with the standings. They've been hot, and you can't blame them for not selling at the moment, or at that moment, I should say. When it comes to them wanting an outfield right-handed bat, am I surprised that they didn't go out and get one? I'm really not, because I think that they would have had to overpay Rojas was already up here.
They did get one.
Who?
Castros. He's not a right outfielder, but
yeah. You're right. You're right.
You're not writing home about him. Don't get me wrong.
Forgot about that trade, and it was for Bailey Falter. So who cares?
Yeah.
But my thing is we already had We already had a couple right bats here. Like they didn't have to go out and overspend. Rojas was already with the big club. Who knows if you would have had to trade him to get a Tommy Pham or one of these other guys, insert name here that you wanted to trade for. I mean, look at what has happened. Pachi goes down. He was playing center. Then you have March and you have Rojas. You need a left fielder. Wes Wilson comes up. Big game for him. They already have guys in their farm system that they're allowing to come up. They didn't need to go out and get a right-handed bat outfielder because they already had them in place. We take what we see in the Twitter sphere, and I'd say we as a collective fan base. Everybody sees it and they run with it. We don't actually know what's going on behind closed doors. Dombrowski, Middleton, they could have said, oh, okay, we can go out and get this guy for this type of price. Great. But if it has to be for this other price, then no thank you, because we are confident in the guys that we have here, because they didn't want to give up a Rojas. They didn't want to give up a Wilson. They didn't want to give up a Mick Abel, an Adrian Painter, insert name here. They didn't want to have to give up these high prospects for these guys that are probably rentals, because that is really all the type of talent other ball clubs are trying to trade off. It's rentals. And that's what you're going to get for a Rojas or any of these other guys that I named, because they're very confident in the guys that they are named here. Michael Lorenzen. What more could be said about this guy right now?
How much?
Right, exactly.
I mean, you're looking
at Dombrowski in this trade, and you're like, dude, so much credit. Thank you so much for bringing him in here. And you're not even thinking about the fact that they did not go out and get right now because of the guys they have here who are showing out. Rojas, he is on. I'm sorry, I know I'm ranting right now, but he is on the base path a lot. He gets thrown out a bunch, but I love what they're doing. They're being aggressive on the base path. I love it. Bryce Harper gets thrown out at home. I don't love it. I don't love that he didn't score, but I love how aggressive they're being. They're stealing bases more. This team is firing on all cylinders right now. They didn't have to go out and do what everybody else was doing with their hair on fire, trading for XYZ. They had the guys in the organization, and it is showing.
I need a cigarette after that. Just gonna say. I don't even smoke.
Sorry.
That damn good. But no, I mean, agreed. I guess all I'm gonna say is, yep. But no, I mean,
how do you tell me how you feel?
Yeah. But like, here's my thing: is like, if you have to look at all the trades that happened at the trade deadline, and you heard some big names, Max Scherzer went, and Verlander went back to Houston. Right now,
with $54 million.
Yeah. Right now,
that's insane.
Right now, we have the best trade acquisition so far.
100%.
We're the only guy who has a guy who went 8 innings and threw a no-hitter in the second game. I mean, what more can you ask for? Now, listen, this will come down a little bit. Just like the June pitching, like Taijuan Walker and Ranger aren't, doing like one sub-1 or one hitters, 2 hitters. Sooner or later,
Taijuan gave up 3 runs early in the game the other day, but he came back strong.
When he gets he has had like a little bit of a shaky moment when he gets himself. I mean, a couple starts ago, he left a 1 home run.
Mm-hmm.
He loaded the bases, no outs, and got out without letting up another run. I mean, when he gets locked in, he gets a little wonky at times, but this is what you get. If any of your pitchers, even Christopher Sanchez, didn't have the greatest outing of his so far, maybe he's getting figured out now.
He's a bullpen piece.
Yeah,
with
we'll
the
find
runs
out.
In here.
But I said this earlier. I said to you, I thought they weren't going to go get starting pitching because you don't carry 5 pitchers now they're running a 6-man rotation to give guys breaks to make sure Wheeler. I think they saw after what they saw this year going into this year how Wheeler was really sore and beat up, and Aaron Nola was really sore. Like they have to kind of like talk about depth with the Eagles. Same thing with the Phillies. Stretch it out a little bit. But if you think about it, they kind of got 2 for the price of 1 because right now, like I said, Tom said it's an open. Outside of number 1 with Wheeler, it's pretty much anybody. It's an open contest. So if for whatever reason, say Lorenzen continues to play like this for the rest of the season, there's a good chance that he's number 2, maybe number 3, depending on how he comes out. Ranger, he can easily go in the bullpen. He's been in there. Taijuan, maybe he's your number 3. He's your number 4. Aaron Nola, maybe he's your number 4. Maybe I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't put Aaron Nola in the bullpen. I just wouldn't put him in the bullpen. I would, and the only reason
I think it's too much mental game right there. Yeah.
But I think Taiwan can go in there no problem. I know Ranger can go in there no problem. I'm sure Michael Lorenzen can go in there no problem.
I think if you're putting anyone back there, it's Ranger and Sanchez, and then you go with the 4.
And here's the beauty of it. Say in like the first round, Nola goes out, maybe kind of starts pitching it down a little bit. They pull him. You can pull Lorenzen out there, and he could go 5 or 6 innings very easily, and you're not taxing your bullpen in a playoff race.
Matt Strom could do 4 or 5 if you really need him to. You're not going to do it. You're not going to need him.
And you're kind of hedging your bet on if Alvarado is going to come back healthy, if Sir Anthony's going to get his head out of his ass consistently, those kind of things.
That's one of the things I wanted to bring up to you when you brought up Alvarez. I think we were off air when you were talking about Alvarez. Yeah. The one thing that I'm not like my smoke is not coming out of my ears when it comes to the Alvarado thing is we now have Kimbrel. And Alvarado was our go-to. Right. Well, I mean, last night he gave up the home run. It was a fluke. If the umpire, right, but if the umpire would have called the right pitch last night, the home run wouldn't have happened. The Eagles or the Phillies would have won back to back in the doubleheader. But Alvarado was the guy. He was the closer last year for the playoffs. Now we were, with Kimbrel, we didn't know exactly where Kimbrel would line up in our, bullpen coming out in the beginning of the season. We all kind of thought Alvarado would still be towards the end closer role, not knowing about Dominguez as well, especially with his injuries this year. But Kimbrel has now been very, very good as a closer for us. So now it's like, all right, when and if Alvarado comes back, that's just an added piece. That's just an added arm of fire for me, knowing that we have Kimbrel, who's going to probably lock it up, close it up anyway.
Yeah. And just kind of looking at it right now. So the Phillies did take the lead in the wild card standings with 3.5 games. Yes. San Fran is playing right now. I think it's just the first inning.
It is, against the Angels.
Yeah, it's nothing right now. So if they can lose tonight, that'd be big. Keep us in that playoff, in that top spot. The Cubs
in the top spot regardless.
Yeah, we'd be tied. The one thing I'll push back on something you did say, and not 100% pushback, but I think they might have. I think Cody Bellinger was a lot more. There was a lot more fire with that smoke. I think because of this race stayed so tight, and the Cubs are like, you know what, we're not going to get we would have.
Oh, absolutely.
I think they would have taken.
They're in the wild card right now.
They're third spot.
Yeah, of course they weren't trading them when that's going on.
But at the time, they were like 5-6 games out at one point.
True, but in like a week span, they picked up like 6 or 7 games.
But that's my point is, if they weren't in, if this race wasn't as tight as it was, I think they would have got Cody Bellinger. I think Cody Bellinger was out there, but they weren't taking it for anything less than a King's ransom.
Sure.
And the Phillies and any other team weren't going to do it. They said, well, we'll just roll our dice. We're in the playoffs now. Well, maybe we could do that. And, they look at what the Phillies did last year and make a run.
Is there any way in your mindset that the Phillies could catch the Braves? Because I think right now they're only like 9 games behind, and they still have 6 games against them.
Mathematically, absolutely. And I said, I think I follow. When I do the Fightings final, we talk more about the wild card race.
Sure, of course.
But I do look at the standings just real quick. I'm like, we're 11.5 games, 7 games, whatever it is. I mean, it would just have the team to be hot like they are now, win 8 out of 10, and then not lose 2 out of 10 for the Braves, but they would have to have like a sub 500.
It would be fitting because it was last year as the Braves and the Mets. Who were right down to the wire, going back and forth. The Braves were in the 2 spot, and then they bumped the Mets, and they got in, obviously,
well, the Mets really messed up because they were, even at this point in the year, they were still a solid 8+ games over the Braves, and they really, so
that's what I mean.
Mathematically, it's there. Honestly, outside of just getting a little extra rest in that first round, that quick, playing round, I don't want them to.
See, I do because I want the division series to open up in Philadelphia.
I get that. I 100% get that, and I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But I just feel like this team plays better from behind, meaning like not being the number 1 team. Like
I also don't want to take a chance of them being the wild card on the road and then us not get a playoff game.
What do you mean?
Because they'll play all the wild card games. In the
you don't want to be the bottom of the wild card because you want it to be because the first round is always all away.
Right.
I mean, if they stay with that, we're gonna have a home wild card. We'll have a home wild card series.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Honestly,
because if as long as they stay in the top wild card, because if they're in that 2 or 3, they're on the road.
I mean, yeah, if you think about it, the Braves lost an opportunity to really put this thing ahead of them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let me pull it up right now. I'll pull up the NL East standings. They are right now. They are 10 games behind the Braves right now.
Okay.
The Braves, I think, are winning. I don't know if they're game or they won today. I forget. But they, they're 6-4 in their last 10. We're 7-3. Yeah, I mean, it's 10 games is not like something you can't overcome. But if the teams keep just with pace with each other, yeah, your window's going to continue to shrink. But like you said, you still have 6 games to play. If you somehow go 5 of those 6, yeah, I mean, now it's a 5-game swing.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, very possible. But like I said, we have to continue to win.
The Phillies have the most home games out of any other MLB team for the rest of the season.
And it's just little things. I know we're saying guys are like really doom or gloom, but little things like losing series to the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Guardians, kind of, if you just go back and take 2 or 3 of those games back, you're under double digits away. And you're still 6 games to play. Now it could be a world of a difference.
I look at it just more like this. If they didn't start off so terribly in those first 2 months, even if they lost, and I won't even say even if they won half of those games, if they won 1/4 more of those games, they'd be right up there fighting for the division with the Braves.
Well, I just said, if you take 4 wins back, it is a world of a difference right now. You are 4 now. You're only 7.5 games out, and you still have 6 games to play.
They might be tied with the Braves on the season too. I could be wrong.
On what?
The season series.
They have a 2-game series because they have to make up the 1 game.
Right.
So they lost both those games.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I thought they were tied with them for the season, but I could be a game off.
Let me see right now.
They usually play very well against the Braves. At least they have over the past couple of seasons.
All right, Braves won. Why is it only showing me? Oh, it's only showing me the ones where Braves and Philly. I want all of them. I'll pull it up on Stat News. But just give me. We'll keep going. We'll look at it later.
Yeah.
But I mean, like ultimately, yeah. I mean, great night all around for Philly fans. No hitter with the Phillies. Newcomer Michael Lorenzen, just amazing. 7-0 win. Phillies keep it rolling. They can go for the series win tomorrow. Should be the series sweep. Another time should be a sweep, but it's not. But like I said, we just got to move forward. So the Fighting's finals coming. We're going to get done here, guys. Reminder that the lineup here at EoP, if you look on the screen, is just awesome and growing. Wait till we get to October. I was just talking because we're having a conversation about all the finals games. When we have October, when the Flyers start, the Sixers start,
oh my God,
the Eagles and the Phillies, if and when they're in the postseason, they make a long run again like they did last year. Not counting any of the normal static shows that we have every day, every week. You're looking at 6 to 7 shows just on finals alone.
Wow.
Before you even touch it. So check it out here. Tonight was a heck of a lineup. Party on Broad, Philly Press Box Radio, and of course EoP. The Fighting's finals is going to be coming very shortly. And for Flyers fans, if you missed it, they did an amazing prospect look. Dives and Tyson last night. It is on all the podcasting as well as our YouTube, so there's nothing to check out. Last week, for those who missed it, Steele Steps did an amazing interview with the godfather of ECW at Philadelphia's own ECW,
right.
Todd Gordon. So you check that out. They have another great lineup this week. So much more Patterson Ave, NPM and AM. Check it all out. Other than that, Joe, all I have to say to you is I'm Big Al.
And I'm Joe Shear.
And we are out of here.